Hey there. Ready to dive into a blockchain that's causing a bit of a stir?
Yeah, lots of buzz around this one.
We're talking Monad. And you know what? We actually got a chance to check out this really cool
All
interview
right.
with Keone Hon, Monad Labs co-founder and CEO.
I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, he was on the Epicenter Podcast. Really interesting stuff. Basically, picture Ethereum, but amped up.
Like, how amped up are we talking?
Like to the tune of 10,000 transactions per second.
We
Crazy.
do a whole lot of transactions.
Yeah.
It's got to be huge for, like, all those microtransaction ideas people have been talking about.
Right. And the thing is, they're not just like copying Ethereum. They went and like rebuilt everything from the ground up.
So a total re-engineering of the tech stack. Bold move.
Yeah, for real. And get this, they're staying truly decentralized while doing it.
Okay. Now, that's impressive. Not easy to pull off.
Not at all. And the cool thing is, there's like a whole philosophical side to this too. Like they talk about their execution model being like a limitless brain.
Limitless brain, huh? That's catchy.
Right. It's like they're not just messing with tech. They're rethinking how we even think about blockchains.
Sounds like we're in for a pretty deep dive then.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the man himself, Keone Hon. This guy has had a pretty wild ride.
Fill me in.
Well, like, he started out in traditional finance doing high-frequency trading.
High-frequency trading. That's like the epitome of speed and efficiency.
Exactly. And then he jumps headfirst into the crypto world. So, this is a guy who knows how to build systems that move fast.
Yeah, that kind of background definitely gives them some street cred when they start talking about crazy transaction speeds.
Oh, totally. And, it doesn't stop there. He also worked on Solana DeFi, so he's got firsthand experience with that too.
Solana. Fast, but that whole non-EVM thing is kind of a pain.
Exactly. And that's where Monad gets interesting. It's like he took what he learned from Solana, saw the limitations, and was like, okay, let's build something even better.
Best of both worlds kind of thing.
Right. So now we've got this blockchain aiming for speed and efficiency, but they also chose to stay EVM compatible.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room. Why stick with the EVM if it's got limitations?
Right. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to just start fresh?
Well, Han's argument is all about being practical. Think about it. Millions of devs are already using it. There are billions of dollars in projects built on it, and all those tools. Starting from scratch would mean throwing all that away.
It would be like starting a whole new internet.
Exactly. So it's a bold move to say, hey, we can actually make the EVM better.
So they're not just building a faster blockchain. They're trying to like level up the entire Ethereum ecosystem.
Exactly. And they've got some seriously cool tech to try and make that happen. Like they've got this thing called asynchronous execution.
Asynchronous execution. What's that?
Think of it this way. Your brain can like handle a bunch of different tasks at once, right?
Yeah.
Well, Monad works kind of like that. It separates the process of verifying transactions from actually executing them.
Oh, I see. So instead of doing everything in like a single line, they can do a bunch of things at the same time.
You got it. Most blockchains, they get bogged down because those two things are all tangled up.
Mm-hmm.
But Monad, they're like, nah, we're going to use 100% of our brain power all the time. Hence the whole limitless brain thing.
Okay, so that's the concept. But like, how does that actually work in practice?
So they basically redesigned the whole architecture. One of the big things is how they handle consensus. Making sure all the computers in the network agree on what transactions happen.
Yeah, that's like blockchain 101.
Right. But they're not using the usual methods. They came up with this new thing called Monad BFT.
Monad BFT.
Got it. And it's all designed for super high throughput and low latency.
Okay, cool. So we got this super efficient way of executing transactions, but what about actually crunching those transactions, processing them? That's where the real magic happens, right?
Totally. And that's where they use optimistic parallel execution. Basically, they just go ahead and execute transactions all at the same time.
At the same time, wouldn't that get messy?
Well, they kind of assume everything's going to be legit, and then they do a bunch of fancy bookkeeping in the background to make sure everything actually adds up right.
So it's parallel processing, but with like built-in safety checks.
You got it. Imagine a team of accountants working on different parts of a giant ledger, but they're constantly double-checking each other's work to make sure everything balances out.
Okay, makes sense. So they've got the execution handled. But what about all that data? Blockchains generate tons of info, right?
Tons. And that's where MonadDB comes in.
Another new thing.
Yep. They ditched the whole Merkle tree thing that most blockchains use and built their own database from scratch.
Why'd they do that?
Because it's way faster for retrieving data. Think of it like having a direct line to the info you need, instead of having to go through a maze.
Oh, like when Han was talking about being able to drink the juice with many straws.
That's the one. They can access multiple pieces of information all at once. It's about maxing out throughput at every level.
Okay, all this tech talk is blowing my mind a little. But the big question is, does it actually work? Can they really hit those crazy TPS numbers?
Well, according to Han, they've already hit over 10,000 TPS. And get this, with real Ethereum transactions, not just simple transfers.
No way. 10,000 with real transactions.
Yep. That's even faster than Solana. And they're doing it with less demanding hardware.
Yeah, okay, that's impressive. But, with all this speed, what about decentralization? Isn't there usually a trade-off there?
You're right. That's the classic dilemma. And a lot of Layer 2 solutions, they sacrifice decentralization to get that speed.
Yeah, like pick one.
Exactly. But Monad's saying they're different. That their consensus mechanism, Monad BFT, can handle hundreds of validators while still maintaining single-slot finality.
Hold on. Single-slot finality. Break that down for me.
Okay, so basically, transactions are confirmed super fast, almost instantly. Imagine sending money and knowing it's arrived in seconds, not minutes or hours.
I can get behind that.
Right. And it's a game changer for things like bridging between different blockchains.
Okay, I'm starting to see why people are excited about this, but what about, developers? Are they going to have to learn a whole new language to build on this thing?
Nope, that's the beauty of it. Since they're EVM compatible, it's just like developing on Ethereum, but way smoother and faster.
So, Ethereum, but on a rocket booster.
Pretty much. And they're even planning some extra goodies for developers, like increasing the bytecode size limit and making account abstraction native. It's going to make things even easier.
Wow, they really thought of everything. But it's not just about the tech, right? They've also built this amazing community around Monad.
Oh, yeah. And this is in a bear market, too, don't forget.
Right. It's like they tapped into something special. How did they manage to get such a dedicated following even before the mainnet is live?
Well, they made it a welcoming space for everyone. It's not just about the tech, it's about the people. Artists, devs, enthusiasts, they're all there.
It feels like a movement almost.
Yeah, it is. And they've done a great job of keeping it fun and engaging. Their marketing is really creative and playful, and they've totally embraced that crypto meme culture. It's not just building a blockchain, it's building a brand people can connect with.
Yeah, you see their logo everywhere. But there has to be more to it than that.
Oh, for sure. There are actual projects being built, like take Monad Madness, for example.
Monad Madness?
Yeah, it's this pitch competition where teams compete for funding and exposure. But it's more than just a contest. It's a testament to the community they've built. People are literally flying in from all over the world to attend, network, and share ideas. It's like a mini DevCon, but, Monad style.
Okay, I gotta admit, you're getting me hyped up about this. But when can we actually expect to see all this awesomeness go live? When's the Monad mainnet launching?
The mainnet is slated for early 2025. No hard date yet, but the testnet is launching soon, so things are definitely moving.
Early 2025. That feels both forever away and right around the corner. It's exciting to think about the impact this could have.
Oh yeah, this isn't just another Ethereum competitor. They're trying to redefine what's possible.
Right. It's not just iteration, it's innovation.
Yeah.
And on multiple levels, too. The tech, the community, even the philosophy behind it all.
It really makes you wonder, what other limitless possibilities are out there just waiting to be unlocked?
That is a great question, and one we're going to dive into right after this break.
It really makes you wonder, what other limitless possibilities are out there just waiting to be unlocked?
So many questions. But, while it's all very exciting, we got to be realistic too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Scaling a blockchain in the real world, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are always bumps in the road.
Challenges for sure. What kind of things do you think Monad might run into?
Well, first off, there are going to be growing pains as the network expands. Can they handle it? Can they keep things decentralized with tons of dApps and millions of users all fighting for resources?
Right. It's one thing to hit 10,000 TPS in a test environment, but the real world, that's a whole other beast.
Exactly. You never know what's going to happen with unpredictable user behavior. And then there's the security question.
Oh, yeah. Security is huge.
They're making big promises about their consensus mechanism, but it's untested in the wild. Every new tech has vulnerabilities. It'll be interesting to see how Monad deals with that.
True. Remember what happened with Solana? Those network outages were a huge setback. It's a good reminder that reliability is just as important as speed, maybe even more so.
100%. If people are going to trust Monad with their money, it needs to be rock solid, unbreakable.
Great doubt. And then there's the whole regulatory landscape looming over everything. Governments are still trying to figure out this whole crypto thing.
Yeah, that could be a big problem.
And any project that gets big enough is going to be on their radar.
It's the wild card for sure.
It could be a tailwind, it could be a headwind, who knows?
And of course, there's the competition. Let's not forget about that. The blockchain space is jam-packed. Everyone's fighting for users and developers.
It's a digital gold rush.
Exactly. But hey, competition can be good too, right? It forces everyone to step up their game.
Yeah, true. A rising tide lifts all boats and all that.
Right. But it also means Monad can't just sit back and relax. If they want to stay ahead, they've got to keep innovating and building that community.
Speaking of community, it's pretty remarkable how they've managed to attract such a loyal fan base even before the mainnet launch. It's almost like a cult following at this point.
Yeah, it is kind of wild, isn't it? What do you think it is about Monad that people are connecting with so strongly?
It feels like they've tapped into this deeper desire, like a longing for a financial system that's more open and transparent.
Yeah, people are tired of the old ways. They want something new, something better.
And Monad has positioned itself as the answer. Plus, let's not forget about the fun factor.
Oh, yeah. They're not afraid to have a little fun with it all.
Remember those animal memes we saw earlier? It's genius. They've made blockchain approachable, relatable.
It's smart. They found this sweet spot between serious innovation and just having a good time. But, community sentiment can change like the wind in the crypto world.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Remember Insert Popular Project here? All that hype, and then poof, gone.
Oof, yeah. Insert Popular Project here. It's a harsh reminder that nothing's guaranteed in this space. Hype can fade fast.
And real value, that comes from what actually gets built.
Exactly. So, yeah, the Monad community is a good sign, but it's not a guarantee of success.
So the million-dollar question, will Monad live up to the hype? What do you think?
Well, based on what we've seen, I'd say they've got a decent shot. They've got the tech skills, the community backing, and a vision that resonates.
They seem to have ticked all the boxes.
They have. But they've also got some stiff competition and some serious hurdles to overcome.
It's going to be a wild ride. And you know what? This is only part of the story.
It is. The blockchain space is constantly evolving. And Monad's right there on the front lines. It's a story that's still being written. And you know what? You, the listener, you could be a part of it.
Absolutely. This is a space worth paying attention to, whether you're a hardcore developer, a casual investor, or just someone who's curious about the future.
Right. This deep dive, it's just scratching the surface. There's so much more to explore. Go read their white paper, join their Discord, form your own opinions.
Don't just take our word for it. Do your own research, connect with the community, and come to your own conclusions. That's what this space is all about. Exploration, discovery, and critical thinking.
So what are your final thoughts? What stood out to you the most about Monad?
Honestly, what strikes me is their potential to bridge the gap between the Ethereum we know and the need for way higher throughput and lower latency. If they pull it off, Monad could be massive.
It's not just about building a faster blockchain. They're building a bridge to a future where decentralized apps can actually scale and thrive.
And it's not just about the tech, it's about the community, the philosophy.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, what if Monad is just the tip of the iceberg?
What other groundbreaking innovations are waiting to be discovered? What other limitless possibilities are out there? All right, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be exploring the deeper implications of Monad and what it could mean for the future of blockchain. Stay tuned.
What other groundbreaking innovations are waiting to be discovered? What other limitless possibilities are out there?
So many possibilities, right? But, we've talked a lot about the tech side of things.
We have. It's fascinating stuff.
It is. But what I find even more intriguing is the philosophy behind Monad.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's at its heart, Monad is all about empowering people giving them more control over their data, their finances, their digital lives.
That's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
It really aligns with that whole idea of decentralization, putting the power back in the hands of the people.
Exactly. And it seems like they're actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk, with their commitment to open source development, community engagement, and that fair token distribution model. It all points to a genuine desire to create a more equitable ecosystem.
It does. But you have to wonder about that tension between this idealistic vision and the reality of the crypto world.
Yeah, the reality bites sometimes, doesn't it?
It does, and we've seen so many projects start with these noble intentions, but then they get swept up in all the hype and the speculation.
Oh, yeah, they get distracted.
It happens. So it'll be really interesting to see how Monad handles that.
Yeah.
Can they stay true to their principles while also attracting the investment and the adoption they need to really succeed?
It's the classic dilemma, right? Idealism versus pragmatism.
It is. It's a tough balancing act, but I think Monad's strong community focus could be a big advantage here.
In what way?
Well, think about it. A passionate community, they can act like a checks and balances system.
Oh.
Yeah. They can hold the core team accountable and make sure the project stays true to its original vision.
So it's like the community itself becomes a safeguard against greed and centralization.
Exactly. And it's something that Monad seems to be doing on purpose.
Yeah.
We're actively engaging with their community, getting feedback, and even incorporating those contributions into the project.
Which, makes me think back to Keone Hon and how much he stressed the importance of decentralization in that interview.
It was a big theme for him.
It was. And for him, it's clearly more than just a technical feature. It's like a core value.
Absolutely. He sees it as vital to creating a fairer, more equitable society. And he truly believes that blockchain tech can make that vision a reality.
Yeah. It's inspiring to see someone with that level of passion.
It is. But it's also important to remember that Monad is still early days.
Right. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. There's a ton of work left to do and a lot of challenges to overcome before they can reach their full potential.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. Which brings us back to you, the listener.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all of this? What stood out to you from this deep dive into Monad? What excites you about it? What worries you? We encourage you to keep exploring, do your own research, and form your own opinions. The future of blockchain is being shaped right now, and it's up to all of us to participate in that conversation. Don't be a spectator. Be an active participant. Challenge the assumptions, ask the tough questions, and contribute your own unique perspective. Because ultimately, the success of projects like Monad depends on the collective efforts of a vibrant and engaged community. So dive in, explore, and let's build this decentralized future together. That's all for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.